Now, the Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane's studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharp sitting in the host chair for Hunt Palmer, who on a beach somewhere right now. He posted a picture of it earlier today, probably to make us all jealous. But Hunt out there probably enjoying some adult beverages or two. So I am holding down the fort here for the week. We are all off Friday, but today, tomorrow, and Thursday, you got me in the driver's seat. Want to go out to the phone lines right now, talk a little LSU. Joined by our guy, Glen West, with On3 Sports and the Bengal Tiger. Glenn, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Taylor. How are you, man?
Doing good. A little bit of a busy week. Everybody kind of all on vacation at the same time. But look, that happens in the off season. And speaking of the off season, Glenn, the one thing that fans have been following at least the past couple of weeks was the transfer portal for LSU baseball. And there was a big time entry over the weekend that maybe caught a few Tiger fans by surprise. Freshman pitcher Marcos Paz does enter his name into that transfer portal just 3 or 4 days before that portal window closed. How big of a blow is that to LSU?
Yeah, that one stings. I do think that Paz was somebody that LSU had kind of pegged as being somebody that could be a pillar of the future of this program here for the next couple seasons. And so you saw him get all those opportunities down the stretch of the season. Some of them went his way. Some of them, showed kind of his freshman stripes and some of the things he needed to work on. But a very talented arm and throws, 3 or 4 pitches for strikes. And, I know he had some issues this last year with, the free passes, but he was kind of in his first season off of Tommy John surgery. So it does take a little while to get that command completely back. But LSU, I know, wanted to keep him around. Like there's no secret there. Like going into the off season, I don't think they expected Paz to be a name that entered the portal. But when you go out and you add, 4 or 5 position players that you think are going to be starters, but then also add 2 right-handed pitchers that you also think are going to have pretty meaningful roles. You obviously return several pitchers from last year, whether it's William Schmidt, Cooper Moore, Kason Evans, Reagan Ricken. A lot of these guys are going to have opportunities this offseason to potentially pitch a lot for LSU. So, Paz was somebody that I guess felt like, there's an opportunity elsewhere. Looks like the Texas schools are going to be fighting it out for him, but certainly a loss for LSU, but one that I think they can overcome considering the arms that they just added in the portal this year.
Well, it wasn't all bad news for LSU baseball the past few days because, yes, they do lose Marcus Paz, but Nathaniel Davis does pull his name out of the MLB draft, the highly touted outfielder. He will be at LSU. And, Glenn, when I look at the roster as far as position players, whether it's infield, outfield, is LSU kind of set? Because all of a sudden they got a lot of talent and a decent amount of depth.
They have a lot of pieces I think that they can feel very confident in going into the off season. I would say that last outfield spot was probably the one that is most up for grabs. I do think Bino Waters and Jason Wax are going to play a lot for LSU next year in 2 of those spots. But outside of that, you really had just William Patrick that was going to be back next year, and I do think Patrick's going to get a fair shake at earning one of those spots. But Nathaniel Davis is absolutely a pretty game changing kind of player. When in terms of freshmen, I think he's around the 138, 140 mark on the MLB draft rankings right now. One of the top, outfielders that's committed to a college out there. And so to get him to pull his name out of the draft and not even, consider signing with a professional team is a really big news because he's a good left-handed bat. He's a great athlete, someone that I think, most scouts project as a pretty elite defender at the college level. So really big time impact player there. And I think he'll walk right in and compete immediately for playing time out in center field.
All right, Glenn, switching from the baseball diamond to the gridiron. Look, SEC Media Days coming up here in just a few weeks, and shortly after that, Tigers enter fall camp. It'll be here before you know it, heading into that fall camp. What's something maybe you're keeping an eye on, whether it's like a player, a position battle? What's something that's kind of piqued your interest going into Lane Kiffin's first fall camp?
Yeah, I think just seeing how Sam Levitt performs and how quickly he adjusts, I think that's going to be something to really monitor in the first several weeks of fall camp. Just seeing how he's moving, how he's throwing the ball, just how much chemistry he has with the receivers. That's obviously going to be a huge piece to this. But something I've been kind of writing about here recently has been just how much do we see translate from the spring over to fall, and kind of what I mean by that is a lot of the offense that we saw, a lot of the lineups and rotations that we saw were pretty consistent for the most of spring camp. I mean, from about the second week of spring ball on, we had pretty much the same offensive line. Dylan Jones took over that running back room and handled a lot of the important situational work with Harlan Berry working in as well, and a little bit of Caden Durham / Stacey Gage. Wide receiver, you saw a bevy of guys have opportunities, but Winston Watkins and Jackson Harris were probably the two most consistent pieces there. And then Trey'Dez, obviously, at the tight end position is going to be a huge pillar for this team. How many of those pieces kind of build on the momentum they had in the spring and take that into fall camp is going to be something I'm very curious about, because I do think the best case scenario for LSU is that they kind of identified maybe some of their better players in the spring, and then those guys are going to be able to translate that into fall camp, and that way you still have that continuity for a full off season. I think that would be the best position if you're LSU to be in. But I do expect there to be competition. I do expect other guys to probably factor in and work in. But how many of the pieces that we saw in the spring translate to fall camp, I think is going to be really interesting to watch.
Glen West on 3 Sports, the Bengal Tiger, joining us right now. Glenn, what do you think the deepest position on this football team is?
Ooh, that's a great question. I would probably lean towards the secondary. I do think that there's a lot of really talented players in that group. You start with Pickett and Woodland at cornerback. At safety, you've got Cooley and Benefield and Spears. I think Fahim Delane's a really interesting player to monitor at that position as well. So I would probably lean the secondary. I do think linebacker is also really talented, and what we're going to get with those linebackers, with Whit Weeks and TJ Daugherty being multiple year SEC starters. But those would probably be the first two that come to mind. I do think the wide receiver room is also really talented, but there's just so many new guys in there. It's kind of hard to know, at this stage what that's going to really look like. I think they're going to get the most out of that group, and whoever rises to the top is going to stay at the top. But there's a lot of talent they're going to have to sift through, even in fall camp and probably early in the season as well.
All right, Glenn, we've hit on a lot of the positives going into fall camp. Let's kind of flip it. Is there a spot that you're watching that's worrying you a little bit? Like, hey, I don't know what this group's going to look like.
Yeah, I do think that, when you kind of look at the defensive line, I think it's full of talent. Uman Mielen's going to play and be a big role player not be a big role player, be a star for you there off the edge. Jordan Ross, I think, is going to play some meaningful snaps. But, I do think that LSU is going to lean into these freshmen. And, as talented as these guys are, and I think they are super, super talented between Lamar Brown, Deuce Gerald's, Richard Anderson. I think they're all potential future all conference, all American type talents, but you are going to be probably asking a lot of that group there, and they are true freshmen, and so how quickly they're able to indoctrinate themselves into the comfortability of being in the SEC is going to be really important. But I don't have a whole lot of super concerns. I think health is going to be really big for this group in particular. I think you've got to stay healthy, and you got to keep your quarterback upright. That's going to be a big part of this as well. But I don't have major concerns. I think last year at this time, everybody kind of looked at the offensive line and was like, okay, how much can these guys really improve? I don't really get the feeling that there's a position like that on this team where going into the fall camp period, you're like, that's a major weakness on this group. I think that all of them can continue to get better, but there's really not a major weakness position group wise.
All right, Glenn, last one before I get you out of here. And we appreciate your time and kind of moving around a little bit here on this Tuesday. But look, the talk of the spring, the offseason is what's it going to look like with Sam Levitt? If Levitt is fully healthy for you, what do you think the ceiling is for this team?
I think it's a playoff caliber team. Levitt's proved in his career already that he can take a team that let's be honest, I don't think that Arizona State team has near as much talent on the field as LSU will have this fall. And he was a really good, solid quarterback for them and helping lead them to the playoff a few years ago. I think all that's still very well within range for him to do this year as well. I mean, I do think that this offense and this system really cater to a quarterback like him. I think there's a reason why before the portal even opened, when Sam Levitt was, a name that was thinking about going in, there was definitely a lot of LSU buzz and a lot of LSU thoughts as to why that fit would make a lot of sense. And so, I think he's doing a lot of the right things here this summer. After being cleared, he's getting with his receivers. He's working out. He's participating in all these team practices and things like that they're kind of going through right now in the summer. So he's doing all the right things, and I think he's got a chance to be really, really a solid starting quarterback in the SEC this year, and get LSU to a point where at its peak can certainly make a push for the playoff.
All right, Glen West, 0-3 Sports. Thanks for joining us today, Glenn.
All right, thank you.
Absolutely. That was our guy, Glen West. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we get back, we're going to continue with LSU football. We're going to shift our focus to the offensive line a little bit, coming back here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Go take a tour at Marucci. What a cool place that we've got here in Baton Rouge. Marucci is available to you to take a tour. It's available to you to work on your game. Tours first. You go see where the official bat of Major League Baseball is made. You go see where they make 1,200 of them every day. You go hear about the story of how two former big leaguers and their trainer started making bats in the backyard and started that process at the bottom and have gone all the way to the top. They make the best bats in the world right here in Baton Rouge. And you can see where they're made, where they're stained, where they're shipped off, and how it happened. You can also work on your game at Marucci. You got a youth baseball player, youth softball player under your roof, eating up with it, wants to get better. Well, become a member. Key card access 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to the Marucci facility so you can practice swings, you can practice pitching. It's all there for you. Go see them online at maruccisports.com. What a gym here in Baton Rouge. That's, of course, Marucci.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Welcome back in here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharp here with you. Jordan Kitchens, Cassie Spazzali hanging out with you as well. We got about 30 minutes or so, maybe 40 minutes or so left with you here on this Tuesday. Look, it's off season. It's list season. Everybody knows what it is. And CBS Sports put out an article recently. It was actually Chris Hummer of CBS Sports talking about the top swing transfer for every top 25 team. And he said, look, the swing transfer means this is not always the top rated transfer. I mean, in some cases it could be, but it's guys that seemingly fill a major need or could spark a unit with a departure that has happened before. And for LSU, who they have ranked 13th, it's kind of a breath of fresh air only because, well, for once, it's not Sam Levitt and Jordan Seaton. And no, it's not Ty Benefield either. He does go along the offensive line, though, and I actually love the pick. He goes Aliyu Ba, the transfer guard out of Maryland. Chris in this write-up does mention that, look, LSU last year ranked 114th in yards per carry and 110th nationally in yards before contact. It was awful. You couldn't do anything in the running game. We talked about it a little bit yesterday. And then you didn't give Garrett Nussmeier a ton of time to throw, who was playing hurt anyways, so they had the fastest time to throw in the SEC a year ago. You couldn't pass block, you couldn't run block, you had a hurt quarterback, which is, well, the main part of why Lane Kiffin and staff are here now, and the previous staff was told to take a hike. You brought in 4 transfers on the offensive line. Jordan Seaton's obviously a lock at left tackle. I mean, he was the top-rated tackle in the transfer portal. You know he's going to start. Aliyu Ba's locked into that spot as well over at right guard. I mean, he kind of slid into that day one starter role, really first day of spring practice, and hasn't given it up. And, you know, Hummer, to his credit, does mention, look, it wasn't all good for Aliyu Ba. He recorded a 54.7 PFF run block grade last year. Anybody who knows what I feel about PFF, I don't really care what somebody who I don't know who's grading and I don't know how they do the grading, rates you. I'm not concerned about that. Like, obviously, guys, run blocking does need a little bit of work, but I'm more concerned about what you can do for this team. And when you ranked 110th in yards, or 114th in yards and 110 in yards before contact, yeah, you need all the help you can get, and you couldn't pass block either. I have talked about Ty Benefield on this show, on the morning show, ad nauseum. I love Ty Benefield. I think he's going to be one of the best players on the team. If Ty Benefield is my favorite player from the transfer portal, Aliou Ba might be my most underrated player in the transfer portal for LSU. Again, Jordan Seaton's getting all the headlines. He was the 5-star. He went and played for Deion over there at Colorado. I get all that. But Aliou Ba started 24 consecutive games at Maryland. That's a Power 4 program. 24 consecutive starts at guard. Look, in 2025, he played 681 offensive snaps and was whistled for 1 penalty the entire year. That's impressive. And that penalty came in week 1 against Florida Atlantic. He didn't allow a sack and gave up only 2 QB hits all year per PFF. So again, PFF was the one rating him very low in run blocking, but his pass blocking was almost perfect. 2 quarterback hits, did not give up a single sack. And you could say, well, hell, LSU needs a lot of help in the running game. Yeah, I get that, but I trust Lane Kiffin's scheme. I trust Lane Kiffin's going to put all these guys in a position to succeed. You got a new offensive line coach. I thought Brad Davis probably the worst coach on your staff a year ago. You replace him with an Eric Wolford. You have a new play caller, a new head coach that's very offensive and run game oriented. I think Aliou Ba is going to be fine in run blocking. If he can elevate there a little bit, his pass blocking's excellent. That's a guy started over 20 games in big-time college football, and he's a guy that I think is going to help you immediately. And the reason I think he's such an underrated signing is because of that starting experience. Like, okay, when you look at the depth that LSU has, like, who's coming back? It's Bo Bordelon, a 5th-year senior who, I mean, he's played in a lot of games. He doesn't have a ton of starts. Like, Bo Bordelon's played in 42 games on special teams, and he's a jumbo set, an extra tight end, a yackle, as Jacob Hester likes to call it. I mean, he's got plenty of size. He's been in this program for a number of years. Not a ton of starting experience as far as guard goes. Then you have Brett Bordelon, the freshman, and then Solomon Thomas, who a lot of people forget about, the 5-star who was a signing day flip from Florida State. I mean, that was a big-time get for Brian Kelly and his staff, but got hurt right when he got here. We haven't seen a ton of him because he hasn't been healthy enough to be on the field. That's what you add as far as what was returning. Now you bring in Aliou Ba, Devin Harper, the Ole Miss transfer. Some thought he could play guard. Some thought he could play tackle. He was kind of that starter at left guard at the beginning of spring practice. Bo Bordelon kind of took over that role as spring went along. And then you have Jamar Jones, who's the nickel transfer, and Jaquan Sprinkle from NC Central, who can play a little tackle as well. So you have Devin Harper, who's never been a full-time starter in college. Jamar Jones, who's stepping up a level from Nichols. Jaquan Sprinkle, who's stepping up multiple levels from NC Central. And then Bo Bordelon, who, again, a 5th-year player in this program, doesn't have a ton of starts on the offensive line under his belt. You needed an Aliou Ba. You needed a guy that could come in, give you that veteran presence, maybe not in your program, but has played a ton of big-time football here at the collegiate level. He's going to be that constant, that stableness at guard that you need. Because if you got the right side figured out, heck, let Bordelon, let Devin Harper, maybe it's a Jaquan Sprinkle, a Solomon Thomas, if he's ever healthy, let them battle out for that other guard position. Because if Ba wasn't here, you're probably having to start Devin Harper and Bo Bordelon, neither of which have a ton of starting experience. So, yes, like, it was big getting back Weston Davis. It was huge getting back Braylon Moore at center. And then you bring in the number 1 left tackle in the portal. But Aliou Ba is a guy that has just kind of flown under the radar for one reason or another. I think Aliou Ba is going to be excellent for this team. I think he was really underrated. Like, he started all 12 games a year ago at right guard. And yes, again, going back to his run grade, it wasn't good, but you got to assume he's going to improve under this Lane Kiffin scheme. We talked about it a little bit yesterday with the running back position, that everywhere Lane Kiffin's been, Florida State, Ole Miss, Alabama is the offensive coordinator. He's had running backs put up big-time numbers. A big reason for that is what the offensive line in front of them did. I mean, you always hear the phrase all the time, oh, a running back's only as good as his offensive line. Yeah, and Lane Kiffin, more times than not, has put his offensive line in a really, really good position to succeed. I don't see why that's going to be any different here because I think the talent's there. I mean, you brought in a couple freshmen, and then Devin Harper, who, again, while he didn't play a ton at Ole Miss, a lot of people were high on him when he entered his name in the transfer portal. LSU pulled him in. And Sprinkle and Jamar Jones, yeah, they didn't play big-time college football, but they're guys who've started games. But Aliou Ba getting a guy that kind of checks every box. Was he efficient? Yes, especially in the passing game. Did not give up a sack last year. Whistled for only one penalty. Does he have starting experience? Yes. That's another check mark. Does he have starting experience in Power 4 football? Yes, there's your third check mark. I mean, he checks pretty much every single box you need for, hey, this is a guy we can plug and play, not have to worry about it. So, going into fall camp, your left tackle's figured out. Jordan Seaton's going to be the guy. Braylon Moore is going to be the guy at center. Yes, you brought in William Satterwhite from Tennessee. I feel comfortable that if Braylon Moore went down with an injury, Satterwhite could maybe slide in there, get you a little veteran presence. But Braylon Moore, by all accounts, is going to be the guy at center. And then your right guard's figured out. Now, Weston Davis returns at right tackle from a year ago where, I mean, frankly, he wasn't very good. But a couple things that played against him last year that's not going to be the case this year. One, last year was his first year starting. Anybody's going to struggle with that. Two, your offensive scheme was so bad, I don't know how anyone can be put in a position to succeed. I mean, Braylon Moore wasn't great a year ago. I mean, he was solid, but not what everybody thought he was going to be. But I'm blaming bad coaching with Brad Davis paired with a bad scheme and Joe Sloan. So you have Weston Davis. But if Weston Davis can't earn that job, again, Jaquan Sprinkles played a little bit of tackle. I love Bryson Martinez. I mean, I remember I ran downstairs in the second floor studio and I was like, hey, Jordan, check this out. Pulled up a video. It was WAFB. They gave out their player of the week. It was Bryson Martinez, a guy that's coming in to play tackle, was a highly recruited guy. He lined up at tight end. I saw him line up out wide and running a dig route. He caught about a 20-yard dig route. He lined up in the Wildcat, took off running for a 2-point conversion. He threw about a 35 to 40-yard touchdown pass in that game. And, oh, yeah, he's big enough and physical enough to come in and play tackle in the SEC. You mean to tell me that guy's not athletic enough? I know the experience isn't there, but the athleticism's off the charts. Like, there's a lot to like about this offensive line. There's a lot of talent on this offensive line. But there's only a handful of guys that have played power football at a high level, and Aliou Ba is one of those guys. So pairing him with Braylon Moore and Jordan Seaton, you got 3 of the 5 spots figured out. If Bo Bordelon can hold it down, great. He hadn't played a ton, but he's been in this program for 5 years. He knows what LSU is all about. And then Weston Davis, either he takes a step forward and he's a good tackle, or a young guy like a Bryson Martinez comes in and beats him out at right tackle, which you're a better offensive line for it anyways. There's a lot to like here, and Aliou Ba, a guy I think should be talked about a little bit more because I think he's one of the most underrated transfers in this class. All right, we're going to take a quick time out. When we get back, me and Jordan are going to chop it up a little bit. Look, the New York Knicks, they're off of their championship run, and this is not a New York Knicks segment, but the Knicks, what was their first time winning since 1973? We'll see which NFL team can break maybe their championship drought. We're talking about that next here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust. FABT.com. FABT.com. Bank local. They've been local at First American Bank and Trust for 116 years. It's kind of hard to believe, but it's true. 116 years they've been here, and they've grown to 25 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana. There's always one near you, whether you're around Baton Rouge and Dutchtown or Jones Creek, maybe up I-12 and St. Tammany and Tangipahoa, down the Bayou, St. James, St. John, Lafourche, Terrebonne, over in the New Orleans area, and Metairie. First American Bank and Trust is here in every single decision they make. All the decisions are made locally. So the people that are making decisions based on your commercial loan, your personal loan, are right here in the state of Louisiana, in Southeast Louisiana. You're not just a line item for somebody who's checking something in Atlanta or Sacramento. Right here in Southeast Louisiana. So stop in one of the branches, conveniently located, 25 of them, or check them out online at FABT.com. First American Bank and Trust.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
They got deals. Fabry Chevrolet GMC has got some savings for you, and I am going to tell you about them because if you'd like to get by and take a look, you can certainly do it. They're on Highway 61 in St. Francisville. You can get a 2026 Chevy Silverado at 0% APR financing from now until the end of the month. That's not a long time. You got a week and a half, but 0% APR financing on 2026 Chevy Silverados for 36 months. You can get a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500 at 2.9 financing for 72 months now until the end of the month. Great deals on Silverados and Sierras, and got some vehicles that are potentially really affordable. Chevy Trailblazer, Chevy Trax, as low as $30,000 over at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. So if that's the price range you're looking at, go see them. Highway 61 in St. Francisville. They're also online at fabrychevrolet.com, fabrychevrolet.com.
All right, welcome back in. Hour number 2 here on a Tuesday edition of Off the Bench. There's about 30 minutes or so to go here on this Tuesday, brought to you by Immense Networks. Teased it a little bit there going into break. Jordan, after the New York Knicks' title, I mean, it was 53 years. It was their first time since 1973. I posed you the question before we went to break. Which team are you picking this year, like if you had to pick one, to end their Super Bowl drought? There's the document in the there's an article in the document, and it shows each team's last Super Bowl title. I mean, these are deep cuts. Like Arizona, 1947.
Didn't even know they won one before.
The Tennessee Titans, I mean, there was probably like 5 teams in the league then. Titans, 1961. The Dolphins, 73, which was the undefeated Miami Dolphins
Falcons
team.
never won.
Yeah, I mean, the Chicago Bears, like we know about that. Like Falcons, NA, Panthers never
NA,
won one.
yeah.
Vikings, 1969. Like Cowboys, 95. Like, is there a team this year where you're like, I can see that team maybe breaking their Super Bowl drought?
Well, all the teams on the list, the obvious answer would be the Buffalo Bills, especially because I am a big believer in like superstition and, breaking curses. So getting out of that old stadium might be for the benefit of the doubt. Like, you can't lose 4 Super Bowls back to back to back to back to back and just think like that's not just a stain on the build. Even though they didn't play Super Bowls there, but still, that's a stain on the organization. So the easiest choice would be to say the Bills, but I'm not here for that. Honestly, you might not like this answer, but I'm about to say the Dallas Cowboys. I know it's 95, it's 5 years before I was even conceived on this planet, but at the same time, I'm looking at all these teams. Like I said, outside of the Bills, they are kind of set up to maybe, I know it's the Cowboys, so it's like every year they're set up to get it done, but I always like what the Cowboys got going on, especially with George Pickens. We'll see what happens with that little saga, but, CeeDee Lamb, you can Dak every now and then. The defense is, but they made improvements on the defense, so I say the Cowboys.
Jordan, I was this close to doing it.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just listen.
I was this close to pulling the trigger just like you just did.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm too close to the situation.
Yeah, but think about it.
I do love a lot of the offseason moves that they did make. They did upgrade their defensive line.
Yeah. Secondary needs some work, but we'll get there.
It does.
Caleb Downs doesn't hurt.
I think that's a winnable division, too. I don't know what. It seems like every year the Eagles' offense gets worse and worse and worse. They continue to win games.
Not a believer in the Eagles this year.
I thought last year, more than anything he did with the Saints, the struggles the Eagles had offensively showed how good of a coach Kellen Moore was.
Yeah.
I mean, when he's there, they win the Super Bowl. Saquon's dominant. Saquon had I don't know if he finished, but around week 10 or so, he had the worst yards per carry of any starting running back in the NFL.
He finished okay. Barkley. Yeah, he finished okay. Not like last year,
right.
The year previous.
Saquon Barkley's a guy who I think probably should have won the MVP 2 years ago, but that's a quarterback award now. But he goes from that to being one of the most inefficient running backs in the NFL. Like that tells me a lot. That offensive line, that wasn't a ton different from it.
Yeah, that's some injuries last year, but overall, still the Eagles. They're still the Eagles.
And you lose A.J. Brown. Like
that's going to hurt.
I like Devontae Smith, who's going to compliment him. Like, can Mekhi Lemon do it? Maybe. I think it really is a winnable division for Dallas. I think the Eagles take a step back finally. I do not trust Washington at all.
Never.
I mean, they were one of my picks last year of like playoff teams you think are going to miss it the year prior.
Yeah.
Washington was the first team out of my mouth. I think that
Giants.
I think they struggle this year. Yeah, and the Giants, like, that's a 4-win team a year.
Yeah.
Let's say Jackson Dart takes a step forward. Let's say Cam Scatterboo's fully healthy. How much better are they going to be?
Exactly. And
you're
that
a
division,
4-win team. And you got an upgraded head coach. Like,
Yeah, they do.
John Harbaugh is going to be really
100%.
good there. I get that. But Dallas has an opportunity to at least set themselves up a good playoff position. Now, will they choke it in the playoffs? Yes, absolutely, because they're the Dallas Cowboys. But in order to get to the Super Bowl, you got to get to the playoffs. And I actually like that path for them this year, more so than in years past. But let me throw a name out for you.
Okay.
The Detroit Lions. The Detroit Lions, last time they won anything, 1957.
Didn't even know they won before.
So
that's news to me.
I think they got a really good opportunity this year to at least have sort of a bounce back season. Like, remember 2 years ago, they were 15-2.
Yeah.
They were the 1 seed, and when Jaden and Washington got hot, they bounced them from the playoffs in the divisional round. I mean, that was a huge upset at the time, but last year they missed the playoffs altogether.
Yeah.
And I heard a lot of people like, oh, have we soured a little bit on Dan Campbell? And like, I don't think Dan Campbell's a perfect head coach by any means, but
Still a good coach.
last year was always going to be a struggle. Like, you got to remember, you lost your offensive and defensive coordinators.
Yep.
Like Ben Johnson with the Bears, Aaron Glenn, for better or worse, with the Jets.
And injuries.
And Frank Ragnow had to retire because of injury.
Yeah.
He had to retire from the NFL. So you lose your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, and your starting center, which was kind of right before the season. Like, last year was always going to be a struggle for this team.
Montgomery got hurt.
got hurt.
Yeah,
I trust Jared Goff because I've seen him get there before. Now, it didn't go well with him. Like, I think a lot of people view Jared Goff negatively for no fault of his own. Like, think about Jared Goff, right? Like, the trade he was in, it sent Matthew Stafford from the Lions to the Rams, and I'll be damned if they didn't win it the first year Stafford's with the Rams. And everybody's like, oh, well, that's it. They were quarterback away. Clearly, Jared Goff sucks. People forget that Goff had a couple years of hotness over there in L.A. and took them to that Super Bowl against the Patriots.
No, he
Like,
did.
That was a good team. And, like, you want to talk call it, no call with the NOLA, no call. That was a really good Los Angeles Rams team. And that offense was good all year long with Jared Goff. So, like, yes, there's a lot of things because people can be like, oh, well, they got lucky to get there and they were quarterback away. And as soon as you replace them, like, oh, man, Goff's been a good quarterback in this league for a long, long time. Like, that's something that a lot of people forget. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, if he's not the best, he's top 2 running backs in the NFL.
Yeah, he'll be up there.
He's a weapon. You got a top 10 receiver in Amon-Ra St. Brown. When healthy, you got a top tight end in Sam Laporta.
Yeah, but the division is so hard.
The division is very, very hard.
That division
That's what gives me pause.
You know, I'm as much as I don't want to believe in the Packers, they're gonna be there. Like, they're the Packers. They're gonna be not gonna say a force, but like, you're gonna have to recognize them. I think the Bears, we'll see what they're gonna look like, you know, year or two with Ben Johnson. I don't think they're gonna.
The Vikings is the one where
I don't know about them either.
The most question marks.
To me, they're the bottom of the division, and I think the Lions, the Packers, and the Bears are pretty much just fighting for number one.
If the Lions could make the playoffs, if the Lions could make it there, they don't even have to win the division. If they could get a wild card.
That's all you got to do.
You got to believe that's going to be a good division, and there's going to be multiple playoff teams in that division, whether it's division winner, wild card, whatever it may be. If they can get into the playoffs, if the Lions could get hot, man, I mean, we've seen streaks of them for like 4 or 5 weeks at a time be the hottest team in the NFL.
Yeah.
There were times last year where they wrote them off at the beginning of the season, then they went on a little bit of a run. Like, I'm not saying they're going to do it, but a lot like Dallas. Like, I think that, yes, that division's so good, but also there's a chance multiple teams get in from that division. So, like, and I don't think the Vikings are going to do anything special this year. I could be wrong. Kyler Murray could come in, blow the roof off the place.
Kevin O'Connell's a good coach. So it's like, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt. We've seen him before take QBs off the street and make it work.
But let's say the Vikings are similar to what they were.
Is Flores still in with the Vikings?
Yeah.
Okay, they still got Flores.
So
the defense
let's say
defense is going to be there.
I think Brian Flores is still.
Yeah, I'm about to say that. I think the defense, if he's there, the defense is going to be there because he's that good of a defensive coach. So if he's still with the Vikings,
he's still the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, they're gonna be a problem. They're not going to easy out. There's no easy outs in that division.
They're not. But I just think if you could split the Bears and Packers games, take care of business with the Vikings, you're sitting there at 4-2.
I know it's a lot easier said than done.
In that division. It's easier said than done, but like, it's possible, and you're battered because you went through that division, but also you're a little battle tested.
Yeah, you need that battle test.
I think 2 years ago at 15-2, they were not as battle tested as maybe a lot of people thought, and they got punched in the mouth by the Redskins in the playoffs and folded. And they couldn't respond.
Yeah.
So
Jaden Daniels come out party.
Right. I mean, that was the run that he took them to the NFC Championship game. But,
man,
I don't know. If they could finally break through, that's a team for me. And, like, the Bears to an extent as well. Because, like,
I like what they got going on. I like Ben Johnson. I'm a Ben Johnson guy.
I'll admit when I'm wrong. I was not super high on Caleb Williams when he came into the NFL.
Yeah, I still got to see.
I thought he the only reason I said that, I thought he regressed a little bit from his Heisman year to his last year at USC, but that whole team was a mess. Like, it wasn't entirely his fault. And then
Lincoln Riley's on the clock.
Like, yes, he struggled as a rookie. One, everybody struggles. Two, having a guy named Matt Eberflus as your head coach, you're set up for failure pretty much anyways. And I hate when you have a lame duck coach and you draft a rookie quarterback. Fire the coach, bring in the quarterback and the coach together. Because last year was kind of his de facto rookie year. He had to learn a completely new system. He had a completely new voice in his ear. Like, that's a team that can maybe make a run as well. Like, Caleb Williams really, really impressed me a year ago. I didn't expect that, at least not this soon. But to your point, Ben Johnson, that's the first look we saw of him as a head coach.
Yeah.
Like, can they replicate?
100%.
That's the big thing for me.
That's why Caleb still has to show me because
right. Like,
can you hit the layups?
Right. That's the thing. He makes the wow plays.
Yes.
It's
the layups. Can you hit those?
Yeah, it's the 7 to 8 yard games that you need to pick up the first down.
Yes.
You can throw it deep. You're a great deep ball thrower.
Or
You can move
down,
around in the backfield,
around.
make things happen. Can he stand in the pocket and deliver the 8 to 12 yard routes that you need to win games?
That's all I need to see.
If he can take that next step, hell, the Bears got a good opportunity to do it as well.
He might be the best quarterback in franchise history at that point for the Bears.
But those are a few I'm watching. Like, yes, the Bills as well. Dude, the problem with the Bills is, like,
it's like, no, this is the problem with the Bills, Taylor. It's win. Because I think last year, that was your best shot. That was your best shot.
Yep.
That was the shot. There was no Mahomes. There's no Lamar. It was just you versus Bo Nix.
I know.
That was the shot. And so it's like, if it's not now, then win. If it wasn't last year, when is it going to be? Because we're not like the AFC's just going to keep going down, depleting. Going to get better. Mahomes going to come back healthy. Other teams are going to rise. That was it.
Dude, first off, this might be the year people stop sleeping on my guy Bo Nix. Like, let's respect the guy a little bit.
It's the Sean Payton effect. I don't like Sean Payton.
Won a lot of football. Okay, I get that. But
you're guilty by association.
I don't think it was this year. It was a morning show I was filling in for 2 years ago. Jake and T-Bob were both out. And, like, I put the Broncos as one of the winners in the draft. And, everybody's like, oh, yeah, well, they took Bo Nix. They kind of took what was left. Yes, but I thought Bo Nix was a perfect fit for the Sean Payton system.
Does, yeah.
And it's kind of played out that way. So, like, is Bo good in every system? I don't know. He didn't have to be. He's got to be good in Sean Payton's system, and he's great at it. Because it's kind of what he did at Oregon where he was so damn effective. Yeah.
Underneath,
right.
Then hit the big bomb.
And then when you
then.
need to, take the shot deep. And he's a guy that adds Jalen Waddle this year to go along with the Cortland Sutton. Like,
that altitude.
I don't know, man. But, like, Buffalo, like, I want to believe, and I'm not even blaming Josh Allen, but, like, that team has just let the city of Buffalo down time and time and time again. Like, I can't do it. I can't pull the trigger with Buffalo. But look, fun little conversation there. We'll have a couple of those throughout the week as we kind of, get away a little bit from Saints and LSU, because we're going to talk a lot of that this week as well. But look, one more segment coming up here on a Tuesday Hunt Palmer Show. We'll take a timeout, close it out next with some Take It or Leave It here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
But not before I tell you about Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. Awesome spot to go work on your golf game. It's sometimes tough to find a good driving range here in Baton Rouge. Maybe it's wet outside. Maybe there's not a lot of grass out there. Maybe struggling to find good golf balls to hit. The wind's blowing. It's hot. Just not a great place to go work on your game. Do it at Swing Easy. You can go into an individual bay. Don't have to worry about any of the elements. You can see your trajectory. You can see your ball speed. You can see your carry distance. You can see your club head speed. You can see how much spin you're putting on the golf ball. The technology is phenomenal. One of the coolest things you can do is see that slow-mo video of your club face at impact, so you can see if you're catching the ball on the toe of the club, see if you're catching on the heel. Doesn't matter if you're a scratch golfer or a beginner. It's still a great place to work on your game and use all of that information at Swing Easy. They're on Segan at Perkins. They're online as well. Swing Easy Golf Club at SwingEasyGCBR.com.
You're listening to the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Taylor Sharp, Cassie Spazzali, Jordan Kitchens hanging out with you. Look, we only got one more thing to do. We do it every day around this time. Let's do some Take It or Leave It.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, it's the end of an era, Taylor, as the Memphis Grizzlies on Monday traded Ja Morant to the Portland Trail Blazers for Jeremy Grant, Chris Murray, and $1 million. The Trail Blazers have made it known they plan to keep Damian Lillard and Ja Morant together. So, Damian Lillard and Ja Morant backcourt, take it or leave it?
I'll take it as long as Dame's there. Because Ja Morant's not a great shooter, at least not on the court. And
he's a good shooter.
If you have Dame out there, you can have Ja Morant kind of drive the lane a little bit. They'll complement each other well, sure, but I mean, it's not really going to make me care about the Trailblazers.
Yeah, it doesn't really move the needle that much. It honestly was one of those moves where it's like, what is going on here?
I saw it today, and I was like, oh, yeah, Portland still has a basketball team.
Yeah, apparently we'll save it for tomorrow for Take It or Leave It. So, P.F. Chase has introduced a new sushi boat to complete with a dramatic dry ice reveal. The shareable platter includes 4 sushi rolls. I don't know how to say that, and is available for edamame, available for a limited time this summer. So, sushi boat from P.F. Chase, take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Sushi's something that I never crave. But every time I have it, I enjoy it. So yeah, I'm a fan of sushi. I love P.F. Chang's. So yeah, I'm taking this all the way.
So am I the only person that sushi-wise is like, I'm never in the mood for sushi, but if somebody else is getting sushi, I will get sushi?
Yeah, that's exactly how I am.
I just want to make sure that's not crazy. All right, that's not crazy?
Yeah, no, I feel the same.
That's exactly how I am.
All right, because I'm about to it's like, I never want sushi, but it's like, getting sushi? I'll tag along.
I get it.
So Mountain Dew's Baja Blast has officially launched in the UK. Zero sugar, though. The drink is available at Taco Bell restaurants following a limited early rollout in London. So, in 2026 being the first time you ever have a Baja Blast, take it or leave it.
So, I was going to answer this. However, I found out something during the break, Jordan.
What did we find out?
Cassie, when's the last time you had a Baja Blast?
I've never had a Baja Blast.
So, wait. Every time you go to Taco Bell, what do you get?
I've never been to Taco Bell.
Good Lord, wow. Cassie. You have never been to Taco Bell.
No, I've never been to Taco Bell.
That blows my mind. They got nuggets now. You can get nuggets from Taco Bell.
If I want nuggets, I'm going to get them from Chick-fil-A.
Oh, my gosh. Dude,
respectable answer.
That blew my mind.
Respectable answer.
I'm going to skip that one because nothing I can say can top the fact that Cassie's never been to a Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's...
You don't like to think outside the bun? Is that still their slogan, or is it just Live Moss?
You know, it's Live Moss.
It used to be think outside the bun, which is way better than Live Moss.
That's some real vintage talk. Vintage Taco Bell talk. That's just like, what are these guys talking about?
I cannot believe you have never been to a Taco Bell.
Like late at night, never just...
No.
What do you... Okay, Cassie, you leave a concert or something.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a 1 a.m.
Not much is open.
What do you eat?
Games.
Okay, well...
They're open that late?
Yeah, 2 a.m. They close at 2.
The one like here in Baton Rouge is open till like 2 a.m.
I'm going to have to write somebody a note. I don't know if the one in Walker's open that late.
But I said they close at 2 a.m. Yeah, man, I'm about to say, first time not having Taco Bell. I mean, at those hours around 1 a.m., first of all, COVID ruined it.
So the one at Walker closes at midnight.
Oh,
I was about to say, I ain't never seen. Well, how often is?
I'll just like go home and like fix some popcorn or something, like or chips or something, like not like a full meal.
Jordan, do we have another one? Cassie's making me mad.
We do, but we can just leave it on that now. We'll save it for tomorrow. We can save it for tomorrow.
No, what we got? This is big news.
Well, LeBron James will return for his 24th season, but not with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's informed the Lakers franchise that he plans on moving. So LeBron James next year, not on the Lakers. Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I'll take it, but
I'll take
it. Am I supposed to holy 2017? Like if this was 5 to 6 years ago, I'd be really fired up. LeBron's 42. You know where LeBron needs to go, Jordan? He needs to go bonk with Gertrude and Edgar at the retirement home and play shuffleboard. That's what LeBron needs to do. It's 42, bud. Let's just
42.
hang it up. Also, you left your son out to dry. I guarantee you Lakers have already changed the locks. Bronny cannot get into that building anymore.
No, Bron did something crazy.
There.
No, listen, before Bron told the Lakers he was leaving, he got Bronny's contract fully guaranteed for next year. So Bronny's he's got a fully guaranteed contract next year.
How do you have that much power?
Yeah.
And I know what you're going to say.
LeBron.
It's LeBron. Okay, Jordan, you be LeBron James real quick. I'm going to be whoever you want me to be in the front office. Ask me about Bronny.
What's up with Bronny?
He's not very good. Do you want him to have a fully guaranteed contract?
Yeah, I'm LeBron.
No.
Hey, man, and
That was
I wish it works that
very
way.
easy. All right, look, that's going to do it for Take It or Leave It. My mind is still blown about this Taco Bell revelation that we found out. But look, we got 2 more days before we are working towards that holiday weekend. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're talking some football. Look, we got some 4th of July topics coming up for you on Thursday as well. So stay tuned tomorrow. Stay tuned for Thursday. And then we'll close it all out after that here on the Hunt Palmer Show.
First, let's tell you about Ochsner. They've been reminding you all month long, about the incredible things they've got going on over at Ochsner. If you are an athlete or you're just trying to stay active, Ochsner Rangers Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute can help keep you moving. They can get you moving as well. You've got access to the highest levels of specialized care. You've got nationally renowned expertise, the latest equipment, and you've got modern facilities, and that includes the convenient walk-in orthopedic clinic at Elite Training Complex, the Burbank location, when you need care fast. So if you've got a sprain, if you've got a strain, if you've got a minor dislocation, maybe even an ACL tear, sudden ongoing non-spine-related musculoskeletal pain, any of that, you can walk into Elite Training Complex on Burbank without an appointment. They are happy to see you. They've got on-site x-rays, and they can treat those minor injuries for you. So you'll drive by, you'll see Elite. They got the big football field with the goalposts out there. You can't miss it, and you can walk in. It's Ochsner, online at ochsner.org/brortho.